Hey guys, it's Robin, and you're listening to the Live Life Balance podcast. My heart is full knowing that you're here today, prioritizing you and your wellness. This podcast is for women looking for an authentic, supportive community to learn about wellness from all angles, and who want to just feel their best. I'll be your guide, pointing you to ideas and tools that you can experiment with to find what works for you, because we all bring different experiences and knowledge to the table. No pun intended. Health is not a one-size-fits-all. By feeling our best, we're able to show up in our purpose, and that allows us to live the most joyful life, even in the most challenging times. Together, we're going to grow by learning to align ourselves and taking some simple, actionable steps that feel right for you. We're going to talk about self-care. We'll talk about nutrition, daily toxins. We'll talk food swaps. We'll definitely be talking about mindset and reframing our thoughts because it's so important. I hope that you leave today feeling more empowered and at ease. And I hope that you can take one or two small steps to be able to create the you that you want to be. Are you ready for all the possibilities? If you said yes, say, I am ready. Now let's get into it. I thought it would be fun to start out by defining what live life balanced actually means. Finding balance in all aspects of your life allows abundance to flow and for you to live in good health. Living a balanced life brings the feelings of feeling good more often than not. And who doesn't want that, right? Balance actually means living our days with more ease. It means giving ourselves grace. It means showing up for ourselves from a place of integrity to create our best self. Balance also means taking a small step or a small shift, and we should celebrate those small things because that's what creates bigger change, and that ultimately creates where we want to go. Balance also means that you're going to find dips and you're going to have contrasts in our beautiful lives, and those are all normal. My favorite, though, is that balance means that perfectionism is not welcome. Addressing different areas of our life will help you find the balance with a little more ease. It may take some time and some reframing of some old thoughts and patterns that we may have created over the years, but that is the journey of life, and it's part of the healing, and ultimately it's what's going to lead us to greater expansion. Our bodies are a lot wiser than we give it credit for. A lot of times, if something doesn't feel right in our bodies are talking to us. I do truly believe that wellness is a connection of the mind, body, and spirit. And I thought today we would take some time to talk about a few areas that sometimes cause us to get out of alignment. And those areas are new habits, eating healthy, and moving our bodies. Some of us have picked up throughout our lives that if you want to do something, you must go all in. You must work super hard and never divert from the plan that you think you have in place. And if you don't do all of that and it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, then we failed. And we have that failure mindset. And well, if we failed, we might as well just go back to our old ways because it's more comfortable, it's easier, and that's where we feel like we belong. That story is also what keeps us stuck. And so those are some of the things that we will undo together. What if we reframed that way of thinking to something more like this? Let's just have fun doing something. Let's do it messy, without a step-by-step plan, and just kind of see where it goes. Do things because they feel good, and then the rest actually will unfold and show you all possibilities that are there and available for you. What might be possible if you set down that all or nothing or perfectionism mindset? What are things that are possible that you feel would be possible if you could set that mentality down? while you're thinking about that, just start recognizing what feelings are coming up for you. How do you feel different? I'm hoping that some of you felt a sense of relief or maybe a weight lifted. Whatever that good feeling is that you came up with, I want you to memorize that feeling. Memorize that feeling so that when you are setting things down, you're setting it down to create that feeling that you want to feel. I have personally created a couple of habits that help me during the day to feel my most balanced. They are what I call my non-negotiables to feeling my best. You might be asking, well, what's a non-negotiable? Those are things that I know that I need to set myself up to have my best day possible. And so you're going to find your own small habits and non-negotiables that you learn make you feel your best. We brush our teeth, we shower, we eat every day. Those are basic habits, and hopefully you do them daily without thinking about them. But honestly, those small habits work hand in hand as being a non-negotiable. And over time, that's what happens with habits. They become things that you do. They're not negotiable. You don't go out without brushing your teeth. You don't go out without showering or, having good hygiene. One of the things, though, that I really want to talk about is I want to give permission to those all or nothing people out there to give yourself some grace. Because no matter how hard we work on habits or we work on non-negotiables, there's always going to be a day, a week, or even a season that we just don't get them done. And that's because we're human, right? Because life happens, because things come up and it actually shifts us away from what makes us feel the best. But what I'd like to encourage is that you don't judge yourself. You don't have that failure mindset like, well, if I didn't do it today, then I might as well just forget it and go back to my old ways. And shame definitely is not welcome. What I'd like for you to start to train yourself to do is just have that day, have that week, have that season. Get right back up where you left off and just keep going, because that is truly what it means to live a balanced life. I hope today, when you leave, you feel a little more empowered to shift the mindset and perhaps try one of these habits if it resonates with you. And who knows, maybe one of these will become one of your non-negotiables. My first has to do with habits and routines. I think an AM routine is super important because it's the first thing you do each morning. And if you can set yourself up in a way that makes you feel good to get started, the rest of your day will unfold differently. Establishing an AM routine should be filled with the things that you know that work for you. But one of the things that we know that doesn't work for us is getting on our phones right away. Getting direct sunlight to balance your circadian rhythms helps your body to make melatonin at night. So if you're someone who's not sleeping well at night, if you're someone who scrolls immediately in the morning, that might be something that you want to experiment with. Maybe not scrolling for a week, getting up, taking a few deep breaths, getting sunshine directly in your eyes, and just notice, does it make me feel any different? For me personally, I start my day with quiet time and prayer. And for everyone, it's going to look different. But for me, I hit my yoga mat because that's where I feel a sense of calm. It's like I've trained my body to memorize that my purple yoga mat means it's time to just sit and let it go. The second thing I like to do is a daily devotional because it fills my mind with positive information. And again, starting out in a positive manner makes for the rest of my day to go a little bit smoother. If you're someone who wakes up with a lot of chatter in your mind and just like things that you're, going over in your mind, all the things you have to do today or things that have come up or feelings that you're having, I would highly recommend trying something called morning pages. I actually call it morning vomit because it's just a way of throwing up all of the stuff that might be on your mind when you wake up. It's very different than journaling. At least it's different than what I thought journaling was. And maybe some of you might have these same thoughts, but I used to think that journaling had to be complicated. Like you had to have the perfect notebook with the fancy markers and a theme and a topic to write about. And morning pages is just a lot simpler. You just write whatever comes to mind. It's all over the place. It can go from maybe thoughts of, something that I have to get done today to, caring for my mom and maybe some emotions I have around that. It might go to something about my kids or my husband. And I try to leave off each day by just saying one or two things that I'm grateful for. But again, this is going to look different for everybody. But what it does have in common for everybody is that it frees up the space in our minds for better thoughts and feelings. And that's ultimately what we want to create, is space in our minds so that we can have better thoughts throughout the day and better feelings. And that will also create more ease in your day. The object is just to start your day with a clear mind so that you can be in your highest vibration, so you can meet your day with joy and balance. My PM routine looks a little different, but sleep is definitely a priority. It's super important when you sleep for repair and healing in your body. You should aim to get 6 to 8 hours at night. And really focus on how you drift off to sleep. Turning your phone off 30 minutes to an hour before bed, reading, doing a little meditation, maybe some breath work, write what you're grateful for. Anything that is going to help you decompress from your day, shut down your brain from going 100 miles an hour, so that when we do drift off to sleep, we get really good quality sleep and not sleep where we're thinking of a million things as we're sleeping. My next habit is movement. Everybody needs to move their body some way, somehow. There's not one perfect way for everybody. There's not one way that's going to give everybody the same result. So again, this is going to be a bio-individual thing. And it's going to take a little bit of experimenting. You can walk. If yoga lights you up, try yoga. Ultimately, you want to find something that feels good, that brings you joy. You don't want to have a task of moving your body that seems dreadful and like a horrible, horrific thing that you have to do on a daily basis. Find something that works for you. No one's saying you have to go to the gym and spend 2 hours there. I personally love the Peloton app, no affiliation with them, but I love it because there's a variety of things to do and the times go from 5 minutes to 45 minutes. So if I have a rushed morning or a rushed day and I know that I ultimately am not going to have a block of 1 hour at a time to do something, there's still no excuse. I can do a 10-minute stretch. I can do breath work. I can do a yoga, a little small yoga thing. Anything that moves your body, because what you're doing is you're intentionally giving your body that time and that space to breathe, stretch, and heal. Remember when you were a kid and you would just be so excited to go outside and play, right? And I feel like as adults, we forget how to do that or to do that in general. And I think it's so important and it's such a lost art. I challenge you guys to find something old that you used to do, or maybe something new that sounds exciting. It sounds fun, because ultimately we are an example to ourselves and to others that you're never too old to try new things or to go back to something that once was fun to you. We come first. We have to put ourselves first in order to change what our wellness looks like. And once we can start to prioritize ourselves, whatever that looks like for everybody, we will start to see shifts happen. The next area that I want to talk about is food. Again, there's not a one size fits all. Everybody has different needs. Everybody has different ailments that they're dealing with. Perhaps maybe people have sensitivity to something. So again, food looks different for everybody. What I will say is that if you're not allergic to lemon, having warm lemon water in the morning before you have any other warm drink is a great way to get started because it allows for your digestive system to get a kick start. All night, it's been working to rest and digest all of the food from the prior day and use it where it needs to be used, and then kind of expel it where it needs to get out, so that it's ready for the next day. It's ready for the nourishment that you're going to give it that day. When we wake up and we get our digestive system going, it's able to process the food that you bring in during that day. Staying hydrated, I know that's not a new thing, but it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Rule of thumb is half your body weight of water. And even though sometimes that feels like a hard task, find a cute cup, find something to make it exciting. Have a challenge with a friend, challenge your friend, how many times a week. Get a habit tracker and mark off so that you can keep accountability and integrity within yourself. Whatever works for you to get that done is super important, because staying hydrated, as we all know, is an important part of being healthy. I am not someone who is a calorie counter. I don't restrict whole food groups, and I definitely don't ride the diet train. I eat what makes me feel my best and what works for me, which is very different than what works for other people. What I want you to do, though, is nourish your body with mostly whole foods. Getting rid of as much processed foods as possible, because that all causes inflammation. Starting with a nutrient-dense breakfast to start out your day really helps to cut down on cravings and urges that you might have when you're not satiated. So when you haven't had a good breakfast and you walk into the office and there's a table full of donuts, you're going to gravitate towards those donuts because you're not full, you're not satiated, you're hungry, sugar is calling your name, and the cycle just continues. So if you set yourself up for better thoughts and feelings by having the feeling of being full before you leave your house, you are less likely to have the turmoil of should I eat that or shouldn't I eat that, because it really won't be of interest because you will be full. Again, there is not a one size fits all, so you have to do a lot of experimenting. There are obviously basics to make us feel better, healthier options, swaps, and those are things that I love to talk about. Limiting processed foods. Most processed foods have inflammatory oils. Those oils are vegetable oil, cottonseed oil, and the list goes on. But to make things simple, the 4 oils that are healthy for you would be olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and ghee. If you can find processed foods in a box that have that oil, then they're more of a thumbs up from me than if you have ones that have inflammatory oils. I also always say, if it's made at a farm, if it's grown in a farm situation, then it's healthy to eat. If it's made in a factory, you really have to know how to read your ingredients, and not the fake ingredient list of all the cutesy stuff on the front of the box that says this is healthy, this is non-GMO, this is organic, this is, keto, this is the healthy version, or whatever. You have to actually read the ingredients on the ingredient list, and you have to flip the box over in order to do that, or the bag. Adding in more nutrient-dense foods. Vegetables. How often do you eat vegetables in a day? How often are you getting greens? What are the carbs that you're ingesting? Are they healthy, complex carbs? Are they simple carbs that turn to sugar? And those are all things that we will talk about in other episodes. But ditching processed sugar is probably the next big thing that I suggest to people, because it is also an inflammatory food. So if you're not aware, having inflammation in our bodies is the root of most diseases. And it's not just inflammation, but it's chronic inflammation. If you've ever cut your finger, it's not like you have to talk to your finger and tell your finger that, oh, you need to start healing, you need to start, coming back together. Your body naturally does it because our bodies actually are amazing beings. We know how to heal ourselves. If we give ourselves the right environment, our body actually can heal ourselves. We will talk about sugar in a whole nother episode because it's just too big and too much for this one. Something that I wanted to share because my 16-year-old really said it the best. She said, if you stock your house properly with nutrient-dense foods that are healthy, then you really don't have to read labels. And all options at your house are good for you. So then again, you don't have to worry about what you're eating. I thought that was pretty clever when she said it. And I thought, yeah, you know what? You're right. I mean, stocking our pantries, stocking our refrigerators in a way that brings ease allows us to have a better environment to eat from. I love, personally, for breakfast, I love a good amount of protein, fiber, healthy fats, and whole fruits. And I know a lot of people say, I don't have time to make that kind of stuff. I'm rushed in the morning. Prep doesn't have to be hard. I prep some chia pudding cups on Sunday, throw some chia seeds in little jars, add some milk, shake it up. They're good to go for the next couple of days. Avocado toast, having hard-boiled eggs pre-made, cucumbers sliced up. I usually keep a thing of sprouts because I like to eat avocado toast when I go out, so I just remake it at home. I do things that are simple and easy to throw together because I don't have time to be in the kitchen for a long period of time, and not very many people do. So finding quick, easy options that are healthy, that you enjoy, and then kind of sticking with them and rotating them. I would say find 3 to 5 that you like and just rotate them over the weeks because it makes life easier, and it also shows you that it's possible that every day you can have something good and healthy to start your day off. Again, these are just quick overviews. We'll get into them more in different episodes. There are 2 extra habits or non-negotiables that I also wanted to share, and one of those is a technology detox. I think it's important to do this weekly, and it's something that I've personally grown to love. Not having social media a couple of times a week really gives yourself and your mind and your brain space. It gives you space to have your own thoughts. It gives you space to have no thoughts. It gives you space to be away from other people's thoughts. And that's so important when we're trying to make shifts in our lives and find more joy and ease. Having your phone not in your room at night, maybe in the bathroom or another room. This is good to reduce EMF exposure, but honestly, it's so helpful in not picking your phone up in the morning when you first wake up to scroll. And if you use your phone as an alarm clock, it being farther away is great because then you have to actually get out of bed to turn your alarm clock off. If it's not something you want to do as far as getting out of your bed, then buy that old-fashioned clock that will set an alarm for you. And lastly, practice staying in alignment. Like we mentioned earlier, throughout the day, we will have our dips and our contrasts, and those might come in forms of stressful moments, chaos, just really anything that brings us down. What's interesting is that these contrasts and dips, if we look at them a little differently and with a new lens, it actually allows us to see the light more clearly when those dips and contrasts fade. And learning to notice when those things happen and giving ourselves grace is an awesome thing to do, to practice, so that, again, you can come back to that alignment a little bit quicker. Some of the tips that I have to help you do that would be connecting with your breath. Try some belly breathing. Learning to reframe those thoughts that you might have creep up. That will allow you to have a different experience or outcome. You can talk that out loud. You can write it down. You can do it in your morning pages, whatever feels good for you. Grounding using your 5 senses. That's another way of distracting your body from going into that fight or flight and having some time to bring you back to your parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest. All of these little tips and tricks do one thing. It helps you to bring yourself back to where you want to be, which is at ease and more balance and flow. It definitely can be challenging, but just like anything else, the more you practice it, the better that you get at it. Fill your minds with people and information that steers you to your best and highest self. If those things aren't happening with certain people that you have in your life or certain situations or work or relationships, whatever that might be, then those might not be for you right now. And so I always say, ditch those energy suckers and shut off the noise, because in order to grow yourself, in order to heal yourself, you cannot have that chatter and those things in your life that continually keep derailing you and causing you to get out of alignment. Some of the takeaways to finding more balance that were in this podcast today, since we covered a lot. We all have different experiences, and that's what makes us all bio-individuals. So that's why we need to create habits that make us feel good and become part of our non-negotiables. There is not a one-size-fits-all. Finding what works for you to make yourself feel your best is the answer to the beginning of your healing. Reframing, setting down some of your old patterns to make space, and you're making space for better thoughts and better feelings. Have fun, experiment, give grace to yourself, and celebrate all those little shifts and wins, because in reality, every small shift and win that you have is taking you one step through your journey to create the wellness that you desire, to create that balance in life where you can find joy and ease on a daily basis. I loved being here with you today. I hope that you got something from today's mini episode. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. Drop a comment below, and if you feel led to, download this episode and share it with someone that you love that needs to hear this message. To stay connected, check out my Instagram and Facebook pages at Live Life Balanced with Robin. Join my newsletter, my blog, or even opt in for my free junk food cleanse sheet at my website, which is www.livelifebalancedwithrobin. And if you're looking to work one-on-one with someone on your health journey, check out my services page on my website too. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. It truly means a lot that you are allowing me to be on your wellness journey with you. Until next time, find peace, love, and light by breathing, being present, and allowing for all possibilities to happen.